you doing? How 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 you doing? My little strawberry, 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 strawberry. I hope you had a good day, a good day, a good day, a good day, and a good week. My natural nails are starting to drive me crazy. I hate it when they get too long. So, I'm going to be using this new set of fake nails that I got. I'm a huge fan of like the just glued press-ons. It's nice because I can keep my natural nails short. And then just put these on top. But this is my first time getting like all clear ones. So I'm going to be painting these versus, the usual false nails that I get that I can just glue on. So I'm going to be painting them this wine knot kind of sparkly red. Hopefully the consistency is alright. It used to be a really good consistency for nail polish, but now it's older, so it might be a little more clumpy, which I'm not a fan of. Might have to put some nail polish remover in the bottle, or just find a similar color that's a little newer if I have one. But yeah. And then I got these like magnetic nail sets that you can stick the nails to while you paint them, so they can stay in place while they dry. I'm also going to do a bit of a ramble. I had someone recently mention like a philosophical kind of, I don't know, ramble about life. And I've been wanting to kind of do something like that for a while, so I will be doing that. But yeah, I accidentally ordered, I meant to just get a set like this. I just need 2. So I have 10 total. I only have 10 fingers. And then the putty that's supposed to come with it. Somehow I ordered a fucking set of 6. So now I have 2 more that I don't need. I guess I should say 4 more that I don't need. I have enough for 30, which I don't. I only have 10 fingers. And then I didn't get the one with the putty in it, so I guess I'm just using the poster putty that I usually use for wall decoration. Why not? So, yeah, that's what I'm gonna be using. But first I have to sort out the sizes that work best for my fingers. Let's see. The first, I guess, topic that we could go over, I think I would say my philosophy towards life is, it's kind of funny, it's kind of similar to that YOLO mentality, you only live once, but I don't mean that in a I'm going to do stupid and reckless things because I only live once. There's still that consciousness, that you don't want to end your life prematurely. You don't want to just jump off a cliff or a bridge. I think that kind of like recklessness is pretty stupid, which I think most people would agree with me on. But do think you shouldn't be so scared of doing things that you miss out on experiences that you could have had in your life. I've heard people say, when you're on your deathbed and you look back at your life, you're gonna look back and regret all the things that you didn't do that you could have done. Like, you shouldn't go, oh, I'm not gonna travel to Greece just because I'm scared of traveling alone. What if something happens to me? Just, yeah, you could get kidnapped, but you could also get kidnapped just going to work. You could also get in a car accident just driving to the grocery store. Stuff could happen to you at any time, and that doesn't mean you should be scared and lock yourself up in your house. But you should be able to say, hey, that's a risk I'm willing to take to live my life kind of vibe. So I'm definitely someone who kind of tries to, I think balance is important with anything. You shouldn't be overly paranoid, but you also shouldn't just be overly trusting of other people. Because there are people who would be willing to hurt you, unfortunately. So you do have to be aware of that. But you shouldn't let your fear of bad things happening stop you from living your life, essentially. That's definitely a happy medium that I've kind of found. And yeah, that balance thing, balance is so important. I don't think I could stress that enough. There's so many people who just see the world in black and white and think, oh, you're either fully good or fully evil, or just stuff like that, which is just so incredibly ignorant. I just don't even know how to respond to those kinds of people most of the time. Because what do you even say to that? Life is full of nuance. The world is shades of gray. Any situation has, other perspectives, other factors that go into it. It's usually never just one way. And that really just applies to pretty much everything, every area of life that I could think of. Let's see, I think that works. Oh. That also works. Trying to figure out which numbers I want to do. It's a little difficult because I'm wearing nail polish, so I feel like that makes my nails thicker a little bit, if that makes sense. It's a little awkward trying to put these on top. They're also very long, which I like. I like the long nails, don't get me wrong. That seems insane. I mean, I know I can just file them down, but these big ones are not going to get any use. That's unfortunate. Let's see, I'm thinking 3 for my thumbs. 5 5 for my middle fingers. Seven for index, or sorry, ring finger. I think index is your pointer finger, right? Maybe. Seven and 8. Makes sense. The other one is 7. My index fingers and my ring fingers are very close in size. I would just say my ring finger's a little bit wider at the base. This one's a little larger than that one, but just a little bit. Just one size difference. And I would say 10 works for my pinkies. Yeah. Alright, sweet. I got my sizes. Kind of nice if I put a little label in here so I know which is which, but it's great because I still have a ton of each. It's a shame though because these large ones don't fit any of my fingers, so these will just be unused, these 3, and then these are the only ones that'll get used. But the set is super cheap. I will link it in the description if you're interested. Okay, wait, now that I found my set, I can go about sticking them to these and painting. And then I will come back with more things to ramble about. Alright, so I just went and I got a better nail polish. It's a little more liquidy. I really like this one though. It's really unfortunate that it's kind of clumping up. I might still try to use it. We'll see. But let's see. Let's get into the actual philosophy stuff. I feel like I was just talking a little more random at the beginning. But I know one of the biggest philosophical ponderings is, what is the meaning of life? Why are we here? All of that kind of vibe. And I would definitely say that I believe, we're just here to enjoy life, enjoy the good moments, the bad moments, and just have the experience of living. I'm not someone who believes in that you have to reach any sort of enlightenment or that you have to do some special task. I just think you have to live your life the way that you want to, and the way that's true to yourself, and the way that makes you happy. It's your life, you only get one of it. You shouldn't have to be living it by anyone else's rules or restricting yourself. As long as you treat others and yourself with kindness, that's all you really have to do. I'm definitely very much if you're not hurting anyone, then what's the issue? I always think people who hate on stuff that other people do, or it's far fucking stupid, because what's the point in going out of your way to hate on someone else when it literally does not affect your life whatsoever? Life is short, and how I think you should be true to yourself. I think you also shouldn't waste your time on stuff that doesn't matter. And people that don't matter. As for an afterlife and all of those, kinds of things, I don't know if I really believe in any. I think there's a part of me that thinks it's a nice thought, and I would like there to be an afterlife, because I've loved ones that I want them to be living in a heaven, like they deserve to be somewhere like that. I just don't know if that's really real. But it's still it's a nice thought regardless. And if it's not real, I wouldn't be upset about it either. I'm content with just the short existence that we have in the scale of the universe. But I still think it's a nice thought that maybe a heaven exists, or that, I don't know, maybe some kind of reincarnation state of enlightenment exists too. Same thing with like hell and stuff. I don't really believe or care about the existence of one, but I do certainly think there are certain people that deserve to burn in hell for all of damnation. Just saying. I'm very much like everyone. I care for living beings, and I, care about, a creature's life to live, I like to treat all beings with kindness, even bugs. I try to be someone who, if I find a spider, I just take it outside and release it instead of smashing it and killing it. It helps that I'm not scared of them. I'm also not scared of very many things either. I'm freaked out by like zombies, but that's an imaginary thing. But I was never really scared of animals. I was never really scared of sharks. I just had a fascination with them, and I've never really been scared of scorpions or spiders. I respect them. I have like a healthy amount of, I guess, fear, you could say, for what they can do, which you should have for any wild animal, I think. But I don't fear them. They're not some big bad thing. But yeah, but there are some people. There are some people who definitely don't deserve to live. As depressing as it is to say that, especially people who commit, horrific crimes against children. I just don't have any sympathy for them. You kind of get to the point where you lose respect as a living being because of the actions that you've committed. So yeah. Let's see, we're gonna do the wine stock. I'm also gonna remove and like cut my nails as well before I put these on, but first I have to paint them and wait for them to dry. But I do, even though I don't really believe in an afterlife and I don't really believe in like souls, I'm not a religious person. I was raised Greek Orthodox, which is a pretty old sect of Christianity. In fact, I think it's one of the very original ones. Orthodox is what split off from Catholicism. So I was always I was raised with very traditional Christian views. And I enjoyed going to church as a kid. For me, it was more of a sense of community, more than me really believing any of the, Bible readings and all of that. I always had issues with a lot of even as a kid, I've always had a strong moral code, compass, whatever you want to call it. I've always had my own idea of right from wrong, and I've never needed a religion or someone else to tell me what's right. I just know what is and what isn't. But even just, hearing a lot of the old Bible stories, and if you're someone who's familiar with them, there are a lot of very, very questionable things. And I always took issue with those as a kid. I would ask questions, and it kind of sucked because you're supposed to be able to ask questions, and you would still kind of get side-eyed for it. Even though you should be able to question your faith. Anything worth, believing in, you should be able to question it and reaffirm, I guess, if that makes sense. But yeah, anyway, I do like a lot of the morals that the Christian faith has. A lot of the 10 Commandments are very good, like don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, all of that. I definitely disagree with the whole, every sin is, on the same level. Absolutely not. That's so fucking stupid. Someone stealing to feed their family, which that's one thing, I don't even think it's really stealing if someone's taking from, a Walmart, per se. If someone had to steal diapers to, clothe their baby, or to steal baby food, or even just to steal food for their family because they're starving, big corporations are already stealing from the people, so don't see anything wrong with that. And that's definitely, people stealing from those corporations is not on the same level as some dude fucking murdering a child. Absolutely not. So there's some things I agree with and some things that I don't, for sure. And I think I agree with a lot of the general stuff. But I don't think you need religion to have that moral compass. I don't think you should need it to guide how you live your life, in a society. I always think it's kind of concerning when I hear some people say that, if it wasn't for being a Christian, they would, basically commit fucking war crimes. I don't want to be around you. You're psychotic. That's not a good thing. So cute. I actually like this color a lot. It's really pretty. This is so much better than painting my, natural nails. But, anyway, moving on. Yeah, I don't know, I've always had my own morals, and I've never needed someone else to tell me, what is right and what is wrong. I guess I probably have more, I think the world is, like I said, all shades of gray, so maybe my morals are a little, grayer than some people's. Obviously, like I said, I'm definitely, team, what's his name? God. Not Red Riding Hood. Not Peter Pan. Robin Hood. Yeah, Team Robin Hood. Steal from the rich and give to the poor. That's probably, maybe some people see that as more, anti-hero kind of vibes. I've never been able to stand the super, goody two-shoes, Mary Sue, good guy character, because they always have, they're up, what'd you call it? They're kind of, pretentious, almost, morals. I don't know, it always just pisses me off, because it's always coming from a place of privilege. God, I hate the, so-called morals that a lot of privileged people have, because they're just not rooted in reality. And I also think, yeah, like sometimes what's right doesn't always match up with the law either. I think there are some things that are illegal in some places that shouldn't be. And there are some things that should be illegal that are just, not, or they're not, punished heavily enough. I don't want to get into like specifics because I don't want to, get demonetized by YouTube. But I mean, I think everyone can see it, like all the wrong and, unjust things that happen in the world. Cute. I'm kind of nervous that maybe I'm getting some of the nail polish under the nail. I'm trying really hard not to do that. But I'm also trying not to like miss any of like the sides and stuff. But yeah, this is looking really pretty and I'm really enjoying the color. It's a little purplish, but maybe when I add another layer it'll be less so. I wonder if maybe I could even add this on top. Not at the moment, but later. Hope you guys like the slapping sounds of me beating it against my hand. Also, my shirt says I love cowboys. I've had multiple people ask me about this because I wear this shirt out, and like I'm a lesbian, so obviously I don't mean it like literally. I mean it in like I love Cowboy Bebop and I love Arthur Morgan from Red Dead kind of vibe. I love my DILFs in media. I love Joel Miller from The Last of Us. But also, yeah, I'm a lesbian, so if a man ever approached me in real life, I would fucking deck him. I like cowgirls. Now that would make a hell of a shirt. But yeah, I like to do things ironically, so and sarcastically. Sometimes people don't always get the joke, but that's not my problem. Look, I might be able to do a layer with this. Maybe I'll do it on top. I just don't want to fuck anything up. I might not, because this is kind of glittery and I didn't actually want a glittery nail polish. So it's kind of good I went with the other one. Yeah, and then, what was the other thing? I was gonna say, I kind of forgot. I have such a short, like, attention span sometimes. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, because I don't really believe in souls, and so paranormal stuff is always interesting for me. I've never had any paranormal experiences personally, so I'm not really one of those people who has like ghost stories and whatnot. Like, I'll happily hear other people's. Do I like fully believe them? I don't know. I think obviously I believe they have their what they experience. Like, I don't think they're just making it up and lying. Could there be a logical explanation? Sure, maybe, probably, but I just kind of, I'll take people's stories at face value and be like, hey, that's crazy. It's not really something I think too much about. I am a huge fan of horror, so I do like, I am like seeing that kind of media and stuff a lot. I think I would believe more in like energy, if that makes sense. Kind of like, if you guys didn't know, I am a like astrophysics major. I'm double majoring in physics and astronomy. So I'm definitely more of like a STEM girly. I definitely look at things more from a science point of view. But I guess if I were to explain it, I would kind of say, like, if you've ever seen the movie Interstellar, there's that scene, or where he is like stuck in that 4D object that like four-dimensional beings made. At least I think it was a 4D object. And he was basically able to interact with the past because time is a dimension, and so it's, you know, something that can be manipulated. So he was able to send a message to his daughter in the past by like knocking over the books in her bookshelf, which was cool. But I guess like I would kind of believe in some kind of like energy or some kind of like time, because time dilation is real. Like that's something that can be mathematically proven, studied. It happens. There's a lot of really cool, wacky shit. I mean, you've got like theories about wormholes, white holes, all different kinds of insane shit, but it makes sense, surprisingly. So I just think, you know, there's still so much that we don't know that I just kind of, I don't know, I definitely believe in some kind of like energy, even if it's just in a literal sense. Everyone is made of stardust. All the elements, everything was made through the process of stars dying. And I just think it's really cool that everything came about from there, and that everyone shares that same origin. So I always like, I envision like a kind of connection, and it's both in like a literal sense, like a scientific sense, but for me it's almost like spiritual too in the same way. And I'm also someone who I do see a lot of beauty in like practicing spiritual practices and like religious practices. So, you know, I still sometimes do some things that I, you know, practices I did as a Christian, that I grew up with. And then I also have a lot of fascination with practices from other religions, especially like Buddhism and Hinduism. I really connect with a lot of those philosophies, and, you know, I like a lot of Wiccan practices as well. I think they're really fascinating. So I feel kind of like I feel more rich spiritually, kind of learning about that stuff. And so it might not be that I like necessarily believe in, you know, those things 100% being real, but maybe I believe in some kind of combination, you know, or some kind of, I still take away something from it at the end of the day. But yeah, I will be back in a little bit. I'm going to take this polish off and cut my nails because I hate how long they are. And I'll probably do another layer on these ones down here, and then I'll be back when I'm gluing them on, probably. Maybe I'll come back a little sooner. Alright. So it's later, much later in the day, as you might be able to tell, I added like one more coat to the nails, so they're very dark. They don't look red anymore. They are a very dark red, but they do look black. I think you can tell they're not a pure black. But these are the nails. I really like them. Like, they came out really nice, really smooth. No, like, really any major inconsistencies, which would normally happen if I painted my nails and then I can't sit still. So I really like this. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be painting more nail sets. I'll be buying probably more nail polish so that I have more options. But yeah, as for the philosophy, I don't know, that I was talking about, personal philosophy, I mean, I don't really know much else to talk about, like just off the top of my head. I know it's like a really broad subject, so I could probably talk about it forever. But I mean, I'm curious to hear maybe some of your guys' personal philosophies in the comments. So, like, what do you guys believe the meaning of life is? What do you believe happens after death? How do you define, like, happiness? Kind of maybe some of your ethics and morality. Do you guys kind of agree with me about, the Robin Hood stuff? I'm definitely someone who, like, thinks that in certain situations, like lying, cheating, and, like, stealing can make sense, Of course not in every situation, but I mean, there are worse crimes for sure. I don't know. How do you view the concept of free will? I took a philosophy class last summer, actually. So I remember some things, like I had to write essays about some of these topics. But it was less writing about my personal philosophy and more writing about, like, kind of summarizing and talking about, the topics and then what some famous philosophers, had to say about it. I don't know what else. Like, do you guys believe in a higher power, deity? I definitely don't really believe in, like, don't think I really believe in a god, but I don't know. Maybe I do believe that there are some more advanced beings out there. I don't really think I would call them deities, though. Wait, how do you guys, like, perceive suffering and things like that? I know in the Bible, like, sin being entered into the world is blamed on, like, Adam and Eve getting kicked out of the garden. And, there's something else. I can't remember. There's a Bible story where, like, pests and stuff were first, like, famine and whatnot was first, like, introduced. There's a whole story for it. I thought it was really bullshit that everybody has to apparently deal with that because of past people's mistakes, apparently. There's just, things like that where I'm like, that's just fucked up. That doesn't make sense. I mean, I think it's just a part of life. I mean, you see it in the animal kingdom and everything. There's, like, a circle of life, and I think suffering is just a part of it. And I think suffering does make you appreciate the good parts more, but I don't also think that it's, like, I mean, I do think balance, yes, but sometimes there's this really awful shit that really has no explanation. Just like human beings have free will, and not every human being's a good person. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, what role do relationships play in your life? I know I'm a really loyal person. I am someone who doesn't believe in, like, your blood has to be your family. I think your family is what you make it. And that doesn't mean that you can't be close with and love your blood family, but that doesn't mean that they're the only people who can be your family, and doesn't mean, if you have blood relatives that are abusive towards you, you don't have to keep them in your life. You don't owe them anything. I'm definitely someone who would, like, I would have no issue adopting kids because, like, I don't need my kid to be my flesh and blood to care about them or to have a close relationship or to care about them and want to, protect them and guide them through life. I never understood people obsessing over, like, blood and stuff like that. My hands are very dry, so they make a lot of nice sounds right now. But, and then, I don't know, talk about, like, individualism, community. Some people are very, like, community-based. Some people a lot more individual. I know my family's, like, culture on my mom's side was very like tight knit. You know, family's a tribe, and you're there for each other. But we're also very individual people. Like, we've all been very independent. I think that happens with being like an immigrant family. So I don't know. I could probably make a video just chatting about like family dynamics and stuff like that in the future. And childhood. How do you feel about like pursuit of knowledge and I don't know, do you feel like the drive and the desire to learn more and be educated and wise? How do you kind of measure that? How do you measure like success in your life? Like what's success to you? I think it's different for different people. Some people's success could be like having a large family or a successful family. Some people it's they themselves, you know, moving up in their career, getting that promotion. I don't know. Like what would you define it as? I've reached success. I know I'm one of those people who, even though I am very much like, I only live once, I want to make the most out of this life, I'm not like necessarily one of those people who is like, I have to get like a gold medal or I have to be the best of the best. Like, I don't necessarily, I can be a competitive person, but I don't put that kind of pressure on myself, if that makes sense. If I'm happy, I kind of consider that a success. But you know, everyone's different, so what does it mean to you? What is the nature of reality to you? That one's a pretty deep topic. I remember writing a whole essay about that. And even like, I've had discussions with friends about like human nature. Do you think humans are inherently good, evil, neutral? I think everything's balanced. I think people have good and evil in them, and they have to make the choice of what they want to be. And, you know, I don't think necessarily human beings themselves are like good or evil, with a few exceptions maybe. But I think for a lot of people, you know, they're very much like in the gray, in the mix. They make good choices sometimes, and sometimes they make bad choices. It's kind of hard to like quantify because it's objective, and it's, you know, everyone has different opinions even on what's good and what's bad. I had a friend who like he's not a good person. He's actually the person that I had my friendship rant about in the past. He's just like extremely like manipulative and stuff, but he was a pessimist, and one of his things was that he believed that everyone was like inherently evil, which was crazy. I'm like, you might be, but that's not everyone. He believed everyone would always make the selfish choice no matter what, and he just called being selfish or even having self-preservation he called evil, which is crazy. Like, what? I don't know. He definitely was extreme with it. He loved just arguing with people, so I think he purposely didn't tell us that was his weird definition. And so when he was like, everyone's evil, we were like, no, it was just a waste of a debate. It was stupid. But yeah. And then how do you view like emotions and decision making? Like, what's your balance of emotion and logic in your life choices? That one I think is definitely difficult. I like to think that I make logical choices most of the time, but I think emotion can also be really important because we're human beings. You can't just use logic. And how do you deal with like uncertainty and doubt about things? You know, what's your approach? But yeah, feel free to give me a psychological essay in the comments and I'll respond. I'll probably give a lot better explanations in the comments just because I can actually sit and think about it before I write. I didn't write like a script or anything for this video, so it was probably a bit of a mess. Someone can attempt to timestamp this, but I love tapping on the laptop. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I was trying to make these nails red so that I could do the Honeymoon album by Lana Del Rey and kind of matches the theme, but these aren't giving red. So I'm probably going to hold off on doing that album, I'm so sorry, until I do the next set. And I hopefully finally do red that time. So maybe I'll do some kind of, I don't know, something else that matches. I got this yokai book of like yokai horror stories, so maybe we'll start some horror stories early before it's even October. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe I should do a mic scratching video soon. Love ya. Love ya, love ya, love ya, love ya. Good night, good night.